Hey, I got these truth burgers, man. Want some?
No,
You can't handle the truth.
I just want to be in my safe space.
Say, have you ever worked on a group project and had a really great idea, but then found yourself having to pitch this idea to your peers and having them take it, add their own shitty ideas to it along with the teacher's agenda, and then see your original idea wash down to nothing but a big bulb of T-Rex shit by the end of it?
What the hell is this?
Well, that is what this new Predator film, Prey, feels like. And don't get us wrong, this film is by no stretch a horrible one. It's a fresh take, everyone's favorite alien hunter arriving on Earth in 1719 to do what it does best. The issue is, however, that it's beaten down with the typical modern Hollywood ideological cliches we've now come to expect from movies. This ultimately causes the film's entire foundation to break and collapse in on itself.
Yeah, a collapse brought on by a C4 explosion, expecting any movie hampered by one-sided political commentary to work is as reasonable as believing you can jump off of the Eiffel Tower wearing some bed sheets.
Anyways, you sort of get the point.
Aiden, just go ahead and exercise judgment on this fucking thing.
In the name of Jesus! Oh, thank you, Jesus. I execute judgment on you!
Prey takes place in 1719 in the Great Plains, following the Comanche tribe. I mean, we gotta admit the scenery throughout this film is quite beautiful and shot well too. The story follows a 84.3-pound petite chick named Naru. Naru is a Native American woman from the Comanche tribe. She fights to prove that she too is a warrior, better than all of the men.
Down with the patriarchy. That's the message.
As she goes above and beyond to prove that she can hunt, preferring that lifestyle instead of being like the rest of the women of her tribe, who are condemned to the horrible fate of cooking and looking after the children and being just a normal woman of the time. And that really is all there is to her character throughout this film. The entire dynamic between her and the rest of the males seems to be based on them being just toxic straight men.
Who invited you? We won't be gone long enough to need a cook.
If you're too afraid to hunt, go back to camp where you belong.
Oh, here it goes.
But lo and behold, ain't no man gonna tell this girl what to do. You go, girl. You go hunt. You go get that independence. You go get that college degree. Anyways, she proves herself to be a capable and reliable hunter. The film shows her struggle to meet the expectations of a hunter, as she undoubtedly fails in the initial stages of her quest. Her great hunter brother Tabe serves as inspiration to her in some ways, despite the rest of the Comanche men looking down on her. In the backdrop of all this toxic masculinity, a predator arrives on Earth and begins its own hunt. It's pretty cool seeing the predator take on some of the animal kingdom's top predators with such ease. One day, Naru helps the Comanche tribesmen hunt a lion after it attacks one of their own. Using her tracking skills, she finds that they may be up against something much larger than just a lion, as she studies the predator's trail of large footprints and finds a skinned snake. She eventually comes face to face with the lion as it kills a toxic Comanche male who was trying to put down good old Naru. Fortunately for the lion, it doesn't get killed by Naru, and it's instead distracted by the predator and falls off a tree, leaving her unconscious. Tabe takes Naru back to the Comanche camp, and there she awakes to see her brother bring back the head of the cat. Naru is not too thrilled to see this, seeing that there's a larger threat lurking out there. So she does the totally logical thing and ventures out to prove her manliness by killing whatever the fuck is leaving those footprints. She stumbles across a grizzly bear and almost pays the price when it chases after her after she fails to put it down. She's saved by tree branches as the bear almost gets to her. Here she witnesses the predator kill the grizzly bear and have this fucking awesome scene. And I gotta say, despite being a toxic incel hater myself, I gotta admit this scene really made my fluids work up.
Our cup runneth over. Jesus Christ.
So she escapes and the predator is in hot pursuit. She runs into the Comanche men tasked with finding her, and we see the predator slaughter them all.
We're gonna burn down the patriarchy.
Naru is caught in a foot trap and is captured by French voyagers. They know the predator is out there, and it turns out that they caught Naru's bro too. Their translator, Raphael, tries to question Naru about what she knows, but she refuses to talk. They use them as bait, but Naru manages to break free. The French white boys are gutted by the predator, and Naru attacks their camp to free her dog, but comes across an injured Raphael, who begs her to save him. She gives him some herbs to reduce his body heat to slow the loss of blood. She comes to realize that this makes humans invisible to the predator, since it cools blood after the predator seemingly does not see Raphael even after walking beside him. But since this isn't 1980s, no white man can be left alive, so the predator brutally kills this son of a bitch too. Anyways, the predator spots her, and her brother Tabe is there to sacrifice himself for her. Naru uses the predator's distraction with Tabe to shoot it with Raphael's pistol and grab its mask. She then prepares various traps, plans, and time to defeat this adversary. Except she doesn't. She literally spends close to no effort at all to stop this thing, besides using for bait a French voyager she captures. Naru then proceeds to absolutely destroy the predator with one-on-one combat. The scene then ends with the predator making dinner for Naru. Well, it doesn't, but it might as well. We see Naru return to her tribe with the predator's head, as she apparently is welcomed by the Comanche people, who suddenly decided to kill all their men and become an exclusively women's club.
We need to kill all men.
Naru looks fresher at the end of the film than the beginning. Anyways, the end credits show a hide painting of 3 spaceships arriving in Comanche territory. May God have mercy on them all, because Naru will probably figure out a way to use a tree branch, launch herself off of it, and land on these spaceships and slaughter every predator, male, female, and child. The end. That's the end of Prey, ladies and gentlemen.
This whole thing fucking sucks. I mean, this is the biggest pile of shit.
Jesus, where to begin? How about with the elephant in the room, the agenda? This movie seems absolutely tied to the female entrapment narrative. The entire film feels like a sob story for Naru. The men are all pricks, and there's nothing to them besides the fact that they hate women.
And what is up with Naru being a great hunter, yet somehow everybody around her is ignorant to this? The movie does a terrible job of showing her struggle as a hunter. This chick goes from having trouble hunting deer to jumping on a predator's fucking head in the span of one day. The entire thing seems a little off, and she doesn't seem to come off as an underdog at all.
And it's a pity, because we actually do feel like she's an underdog when she does struggle. Hence, it makes us sort of root for her. But all of that is wasted when she's shown obliterating an entire French company. She's like fucking Rambo out there.
I am the strongest woman this state has ever seen.
The entire film also has a lot of symbolism for rage against traditional feminine roles.
Why do you want to hunt? Because you all think that I can't.
Bitch, maybe because this is supposed to be 1719 and women aren't expected to hunt?
This film at times seems like it's set in 2022 on a college campus and not 1719. The whole feminism thing is weird. The dialogue between the natives is terribly modern.
We crawled through the mud and my bowstring got ruined and...
Don't get your bowstring wet. Don't get your bowstring wet.
That is so lame.
It seems like a bunch of American dudes having a conversation with one another dressed as Indians at a Halloween party. Tobby sounds like a Californian surfer dude and shit.
The rain was bad. Everything was wet.
Oh, bro, it's just like Dude, you get the best barrels ever, dude.
You also got Naru being annoyingly perfect. If Naru was around Galileo's time, it would probably go something like this. I have undoubtable evidence that comets are atmospheric disturbances. Actually, check again. They are objects in the heavens. Oh, and if you look closely, Neptune exists. Oh, and the moon has an impact on tides too. This bitch. The whole thing makes her extremely perfect, and she comes off as very dislikable.
And her scene of jealousy for her own brother makes her a malicious presence that comes off as envious, opposed to legitimately happy. As a matter of fact, throughout the film there is this pettiness to her, where she constantly makes herself a victim and reveals her inner hatred. Like when she's disappointed the Predator does not see her as a threat, but does see Tabi as one. Or when she goes on a rage session to the French voyager she captures about how she's a threat.
You think that I'm not a hunter like you, and I'm not a threat. That is what makes me dangerous.
Fuck off.
The whole thing comes off as envious and resentful. Instead of celebrating her brother coming home alive, she can't look past her own ego.
Yup, and the whole thing comes off like some angry feminist used Naru's character to project her inner frustrations.
Fuck patriarchy.
It makes Naru seem selfish and self-centered in that scene.
How does whooping a grown man's ass, defying physics, correcting people all the time, and murdering a predator make this girl in any way an underdog? I mean, for heaven's sake, the Predator does a military press on a grizzly, yet we are to believe this starving chick takes it on without losing a strand of hair?
Women are much stronger than men, I think.
The men serve no purpose but to be cannon fodder in this movie, to be killed off stupidly while Mary Sue outsmarts, outkills, and outperforms everybody around her. This chick should just be put in the MCU.
The French voyagers speaking French while the Comanche spoke English was jarring.
Ja se slažem sa tim, ne znam zašto ovi Francuzi pričaju francuski, a ovi pričaju engleski.
Yeah, it was really weird to see that happen. I agree. Anyways, the film's plot is also stupid in the sense that Naru seemed to be great at everything from early on, yet somehow people underestimated her.
You can see what I miss. You always have.
You're the cuck fluffer.
So Tabi knew she was talented all along? How does this make us believe in her story as a girl who's got the odds stacked against her? She seems to be naturally better than everyone else.
The whole premise is supposed to be that Naru is the unlikely hero who overcomes the odds and wins. Instead, she's so strongly portrayed that we have a hard time believing she ever had any flaws to begin with. Somewhere in the second half of this film, they make her so perfect that it overshadows any weaknesses she may have had in the first half. From understanding medicine, to escaping traps, to correcting seasoned hunters.
I think she's amazing.
At least she struggles to find out how a flintlock pistol works.
Put the powder here. Pull that buck, and it will fire.
That's all.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And who can forget about the French voyagers being depicted like Scooby-Doo villains as opposed to actual believable people? Seriously, what in the blue hell was that? Since when are villains just written so sloppy? There's no character to them. They're a collection of dirty barbarians with no personality, but evil giggles.
Yeah, the same French voyagers Mrs. Inexperienced Hunter so easily slaughters.
Yeah, typical Mary Sue shit. And no, whatever small problems she might have had early on in the film do not disqualify her from reaching Mary Sue status.
The Predator gives us sweet violence and all, but it's all done to hype up Naru and how awesome she is once she beats its ass to Kingdom Come. It seems like the Predator stops being a merciless badass whenever it shares the stage with Naru. It ruins any suspense of her being in any real danger. Imagine if Sarah Connor always outsmarted and mauled the fucking Terminator whenever they shared a scene together. It would be absolutely ridiculous. You would stop seeing the villain as a liable threat.
And the fact that this scene happens makes it all the worse.
Run, Naru. It thinks I'm the threat.
I'm not a threat. That is what makes me dangerous.
Seriously, so you throw in a symbolic dig about underestimating women using the Predator to represent the patriarchy?
And if Terminator 2 was released today, Sarah Connor would feel jealous that the Terminator is sent back to kill her son John and not her, because she'd feel underestimated by the Terminator.
I am going to kill you.
I understand.
Fucking hell. It seems like everything is about gender in this movie.
And let's talk about that final scene for a second. By the time it comes around, it's an understatement to say that this shit is unrealistic. The Predator is shown killing snakes, wolves, and bears and shit. Yet here we have this chick with the weight of an Amazon Fire Stick taking it on. Somehow, some way, she absolutely demolishes it without using any real traps. We see the Predator using bombs and shields and compressing nets to kill the Frenchman, but then all of a sudden the Predator completely forgets its own capabilities when it faces off with Mary Sue. The Predator is outmatched easily, and instead of it being a sincere battle, it comes off as a scene from a Marvel movie where the female character overpowers her opponents. It's a complete shit show that does not make us believe for a second that she was ever in danger. I mean, for heaven's sake, she jumps on its damn head. On its damn head.
The point here is that the movie is so obsessed with promoting a female empowerment message that the entire film is held prisoner to it, including Naru, who never moves beyond being a stoic kick-ass Mary Sue. We don't need Mary Sues to like a female character. We can like female characters for being vulnerable, hurt, and scared, and somehow finding a way to survive. Some of the best female characters were written that way, but by the time Naru challenges the Predator in this movie, she isn't the prey, she's the hunter. It's a damn shame, because the moment in the film when we connect with her most is when she's making mistakes and is in trouble, like when she faces off against the grizzly bear. Our human inclination to support the little guy and underdog kicks in, and we cannot help but cheer for them to come out on top. But Naru is far from an underdog when she isn't doing Neo stunts.
You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Don't get your bowstring wet.
No, please, no more.
She's correcting people and figuring shit out with ease.
Prey also has its silver lining. The movie is not terrible.
Not great, not terrible.
Watching the Predator challenge Earth's predators is great. The scenes were exciting and added a good build-up to the Predator. The scenery was fantastic despite some not so good CGI scenes. The best character in this film was Tabe, who had the most personality and believability as a warrior. The violence was great, and even the story looked cool on paper until it was ultimately ruined in execution, and we all know why.
Overall, this movie is worth a watch on a rainy Monday night when you have nothing better to do, but as a film itself, it definitely does not come close to the original, nor the second part, maybe not even ahead of Predators. The poorly done story of Naru is what is to blame, because when you write up a story on a female underdog, we expect you to actually portray her as an underdog and not some mystical Mary Sue who can figure out how to make a bazooka with an Amazon Fire Stick or beat a sumo wrestler to death as she's tied up with barbed wire at the same time. Seriously, she even puts fucking MacGyver to shame.
And that's all, folks. We are Aiden and Ollie.
And we're our single mom's whole world.
And please, stop swiping left on her Tinder profile.
1715.
Oh, fuck.